welcome to the Complete Sports Update. This is the show where the latest and trending stories in the world of sports are brought to you. My name is Abib Kuranga. Joining me on today's episode is James Agborobi. Together we shall be taking you through the rounds as far as sporting stories in today's episode is concerned. Welcome to the show, James. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much. I'm fine, and you?
Absolutely. I'm always good, and it's always good to be back
Yeah.
on the Complete Sports Update. World Football Governing Body FIFA sanctions the Bafana of South Africa over fielding an ineligible player in their World Cup qualifiers against the Mers of Lesotho. The Flying Eagles of Nigeria began their Under-20 World Cup campaign with a 1-0 defeat against Norway. So, James, welcome back to the show once more.
Thank
Let's
you.
start with somewhat of a big news
Yeah.
right there as far as the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualification series is concerned. So, the Bafana of South Africa finally have been sanctioned. I think 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago we talked about this, the latest disciplinary sanction of by FIFA, which South Africa were not among. And you talk something about it is the latest that maybe they are still investigating. And just days later, they actually charged South Africa officially, and now the news is out,
Yeah.
and South Africa have been sanctioned for feature over their match against Lesotho, which
Yeah.
fielded an ineligible player in Tebo Mokoena, and $10,000 as well as a warning
Yeah.
to the player in question. So, what say you about FIFA's verdict as far as this is concerned?
Well, it's the news that we've been we've been waiting for, and FIFA had decided to just come down and do the needful. But I learned the SAFA, the South African Football Association, are planning to appeal the judgment. So I don't know whether they're going to be successful. I think there's no harm in appealing. So for me, I think concerning the Super Eagles, it's more like a mixed feeling because with such news, you feel okay. The Super Eagles should take advantage of it, but I mean, when you look at where they are currently, and you know that their destiny is not even in their hands. Even if they go ahead to win their remaining 2 games, what happened in the other games? So you still have to rely on other teams, the outcome of other games before you can say okay. Because for me, even South Africa, it still favors them. What they need to do is to just try and win their next 2 games and win with good margins, and they'll be home and dry. So I mean, it now brings it back to some of the games the Super Eagles play that you should have expected them to take advantage of, like the game against Zimbabwe when they considered that late goal, then the game against South Africa when they drew. So they've dropped some very, very vital points on the road. So that's why they are where they are now. So for me, this point deduction is just a temporary, a little reprieve for the other teams, the other chasing, pack. For South Africa, they are like almost home and dry. Now they now have to pull themselves back again and see how they can and step up, because they are currently second on the table now because of goals difference. So they have their next 2 games they were playing. They were playing at home because Zimbabwe Zimbabwe will host them right there in South Africa, and their next game is going to be against Rwanda. And I know a lot of people, some of the South Africans will be like, well, we are playing at home, so we should be able to take all the 3 points. But I remember in 1993, I remember when we were speaking behind, France too, they were in this kind of situation. They had 2 home games. That's qualification for the 1994 World Cup. They had 2 home games. All they needed is just 1 point in those 2 games. You will not believe that France lost those 2 games. First, they lost to Israel. Israel, that was the whipping team in the group. They defeated France 3-2. They scored a 10-minute goal. France still had it in their hands. All they needed was just 1 point against Bulgaria. And they lost 2-1. They scored first. They conceded the 10-minute goal right there in France. So for the South Africa, these Super Eagles just be hoping. Now we just be hoping. Calculators are out again.
Absolutely.
Prayers, all they need now is miracle. Because, like I said, their destiny is not in their hands. They need other teams to do them a favor. And I think for me, this is the most complicated group in this World Cup qualification series. The most complicated. All we need to do now is just be hoping and praying. That's what the Super Eagles need now, because personally, they've been pathetic. They've been so shambolic in these qualifiers. A group that you expect them to to be home and dry. They are just struggling. So let's just, like I said, let's just hope and pray that this 3 point deduction will, in a way, favor them.
Okay, absolutely. So, let's talk about, these three teams now. Let's put Rwanda in the mix because Rwanda
Yes.
also are on 11 points. Super Eagles are on 11 points. The table toppers and South Africa, the table toppers in Benin Republic and South Africa right there on 14 points.
Yeah.
So, and Nigeria will actually play Benin
Lesotho.
Republic and Lesotho, right?
Yeah.
And South Africa also will be playing Zimbabwe and
Rwanda.
Rwanda, which both games will actually be played in South Africa, which
Yeah.
is somewhat of an advantage. But
Yeah.
we've actually talked something about France, something more like a precedent and all of that.
Yeah.
So, looking at this instance now, if Nigeria should actually, win their remaining games, and something, this football is more like psychology and all of
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
These 3 points that is being deducted from South Africa,
Hmm.
no doubt will somewhat have some form of demoralizing them
Yeah.
and all of that. So, do you think it's more like a lifeline for the Super Eagles, considering the fact that this is more like a morale draining for South Africa?
Yeah, it should be, because now what it means that you are just 3 points behind South Africa. But as it is now, you need South Africa to lose at least a game or maybe draw their next 2 games. They must not win their next 2 games, because the higher the Super Eagles can get to is 17 points.
Yeah.
If South Africa should win their next 2 games, that's 20 points, 14, 17, that's 20 points.
20 points, yeah.
So it's supposed to be a lifeline, but because our own destiny is not in our hands anymore. So that's why you still need to rely on other opponents. I mean, look at Benin Republic. They will have to play Rwanda. Rwanda, just like what you said, Rwanda is still in the mix somehow because they are just 3 points behind the leaders, and they will host Benin Republic. If they should beat Benin Republic, they are back in it, and the game against South Africa is going to be war.
Yeah,
it's going to be serious war. That's why I said South Africa. This is draining. It's going to get to them. Pressure is now setting because this is a team that they've been the best in this series, in this qualifier series in the Group C, and they almost over giant. Now I didn't mean they okay. You deduct the point and they are like still top, but now they have to play catch up now. Something that they've not done for most part of the qualifiers. So pressure is setting because the last time they qualified for the World Cup was 2010.
The one they hosted.
Yes, so something that because they know that this is a big opportunity. You have a powerhouse like the Super Eagles who have been fumbling. You now had the opportunity, and somebody in the administrative setting now decided to conspire to now forget that player Mokwena was not supposed to play that game. So for me, it's psychological now. How they're going to approach the 2 games. It's going to be pressure. Like the tension will be much. I know Rwanda, we're going to give. If for me, if you ask me, between Zimbabwe and Rwanda, who's going to give South Africa the headache? I'm telling you, it's going to be Rwanda. If Rwanda should beat Benin Republic, I'm telling you, South Africa, they are going to face, because that Rwanda thing is a tough nut to crack. So I'm going to speak like fine. The Super Eagles have been so shambolic, but you still want that thing in you, that Nigerian. You still want them to. A miracle should happen, and let's just hope that something will happen and they qualify.
There is always hope, and we do hope that these 3 points will be very, very favorable to the Super Eagles of Nigeria by the end of this qualifying series. And we might get to see them in North America come 2026. So let's talk about the Under-20 World Cup, which has actually started, and Nigeria, the Flying Eagles of Nigeria, started their campaign with a loss to Norway, conceding an early minute penalty, and you would actually argue that the Flying Eagles should actually be getting a goal right there in the fixture. So now that they've actually lost that, with Saudi Arabia coming up next, sometimes on Friday, in the early hours of Friday, and with Colombia coming next. So what chances are those Ali Zubai's side have ahead of qualifying to the knockout stages of the Under-20 World Cup?
Well, it's so fortunate that they kicked off the competition on a losing note. It's not as if they didn't put in enough effort, but they got some scoring chances that they didn't take, and the penalty calls to be able to bounce back and will not allow the defeat against Norway to put them down. I think this is a competition that even three teams can also qualify from the group. So the most important thing now for them is to get a good result against Saudi Arabia and see how things pan out from there.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing now is for them to start winning their games. First against Saudi Arabia. And let's see how it's going to end as far as their under 20 World Cup campaign is concerned. So thank you very much, James, for the wonderful and insightful analysis as always on Complete Sports Updates. Viewers, this is where we're wrapping things up as far as proceedings in today's episode is concerned. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, as well as comment as far as this episode is concerned. And do take care of yourselves and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.